the Rambler Network.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Digressor. I'm Trevor, and today I'm talking about the Great Molasses Flood of 1919. It sounds like something out of a cartoon. A giant wave of molasses barrels through a major U.S. city, crushing everything in its path. But in January of 1919, that actually happened. This wasn't some sticky urban legend. It was a real disaster, deadly and devastating. In 1915, the United States Industrial Alcohol Company, USIA for short, needed a place to store molasses in bulk. Why molasses? Because it's used to make industrial alcohol, which is used in everything from munitions to antifreeze to, of course, booze. And with World War I raging in Europe, the demand for alcohol, especially the kind that goes boom, was sky high. So USIA buys a plot of land in Boston's North End near Commercial Street and the harbor, and they start building a massive steel storage tank. This thing was 50 feet tall, 90 feet in diameter, and could hold over 2 million gallons of molasses. To put that into perspective, imagine an above-ground swimming pool the size of a small office building filled with syrup. What could go wrong? Well, a lot. For one thing, the guy in charge of overseeing the tank's construction was not an engineer. He was an accountant. Charles Edward Logue. No background in structural engineering, no real qualifications in construction. But hey, it was the early 1900s, and safety regulations were more like suggestions. And here's the kicker. Back then, there was no law requiring the tank to be inspected by the city, so no one did. No stress tests, no x-rays for cracks, not even a pressure check when it was filled. As soon as it was done, USIA filled it up with molasses, and almost immediately, it started to leak. People in the neighborhood complained about the dripping. Kids would scrape molasses off the sides for free candy. USIA's solution? They painted the tank brown to hide the leaks. Problem solved. Fast forward to the 15th of January, 1919. It's an unseasonably warm winter day. Temperatures had jumped from below freezing to over 40 degrees Fahrenheit in less than 24 hours. Inside the tank, that caused the molasses to ferment, building pressure. Fermentation also releases carbon dioxide, which adds even more pressure. Add to that a recent delivery of warm molasses from the Caribbean into an already stressed tank, and it was a literal recipe for disaster. At about 12:40 p.m., they heard a sound like a machine gun, rivets shooting out of the steel. Then came a thunderclap as the entire tank split open, unleashing a wave of molasses 25 feet high, moving at 35 miles per hour in all directions. It swept through the North End like a freight train of syrup. The force of the flood was unbelievable. Buildings were smashed off their foundations. The steel girders of an elevated train track were bent and torn apart. A freight car was hurled into the harbor. Horses and wagons were swept away, and automobiles were tossed like toys. People caught in the wave were trapped, suffocated, or crushed. In all, 21 people died, and over 150 were injured. The cleanup was almost as nightmarish as the flood itself. Molasses got everywhere. It stuck to streets, seeped into basements, gummed up subway lines. Rescue workers tracked it into buildings. Firefighters hosed down the streets with salt water and sand. For weeks, Boston Harbor was brown. And for decades, locals swore that on hot summer days you could still smell molasses in the North End. After the disaster, USIA tried to blame anarchists. This was the Red Scare era, after all. But a long court battle revealed the truth. The tank was poorly designed, badly built, and never tested. The final report even noted that the steel used was too thin and brittle. It didn't even meet the standards of the day. The company was held liable and paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars in settlements, which would be millions today. It was one of the first major class action lawsuits in U.S. history. Today, the site of the Great Molasses Flood is much quieter. It's a park now, Langon Park, just off Commercial Street. There's a small plaque commemorating the disaster. If you didn't know the history, you just walk right past it. But just underneath the grass and the playgrounds lies the memory of a freak accident that tore through the city, caused by corporate negligence, a lack of oversight, and a whole lot of sticky physics. There's no trace of molasses left, but the story lingers. But I digress.
The Rambler Network.